Hello, hello! David Snowpeck here from Snowpeck Games. Welcome to the stream. Who's out there? Say something, speak up. How are you guys doing? I just hit a button. Hopefully not a button that breaks everything. Good. How have you guys been doing? How have your projects been going? What have you been up to? Hey, the clean. If you say something in chat, you get a character on the overlay. This overlay that we built on stream at one point quite a while ago now. It's a Godot 3 game, air quotes. Sunny Knox, welcome to the stream. Happy Friday, yes. Friday. This week actually kind of like flew by for me. Hey, Ricardo. Wow, we got some pretty good characters going. So Sunny Knox kind of looks like a blacksmith with the kind of overalls, testing out maybe a shield that they just made. The clean has my haircut and a heavy looking shirt. Possibly not wearing pants. I don't know. That's your business, the clean. I'm like an orc king of some kind. I've got the crown with the beard. That's pretty cool. Ricardo's got a sweet axe, it looks like. And I can't... Oh, okay, that's just a pointy shoulder. I was like trying to figure out if that was like a thing of arrows on Ricardo's back, but I don't think we have a thing of arrows in the asset pack there. So yeah, from my end, I have not been up to too much in the last 2 weeks. I've been working on GDExtension. Things are shaping up pretty good for 4.1. There's still so much work to do for GDExtension, but we've gone from something that was pretty badly broken in 4.0 to something that's just mildly broken. There's whole use cases now that weren't possible and will be possible in 4.1. So that's awesome. We're getting there. I think maybe 4.2 might be where we actually say GDExtension is stable, but we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, I've been working on my little fairies and bees game. I don't know if you guys are curious to see that. There's actually not that much to it game-wise. I've been mostly working on figuring out split screen, like local split screen play, and all of the things that come with that. There's like all these weird like input concerns. And like first of all, I was focused mainly on the rendering because I was trying to figure out, like I want to do this pixel art style, right? And I was trying to figure out what size everything needs to be, with the understanding that the size, like the zoom level, will be different depending on how many players there are. Do I have a controller hooked up? Let me get a controller hooked up. I'll just show you guys the basics of this, and then we'll move on. Ooh, hey, Boss MB! Welcome to the stream. Micah's rocking a sweet helmet and a braid. So the way that this works is that I have a whole pile of controllers laying on the floor. I'll just connect one for now. But you go and you start the game. I actually have a save load system already set up, even though all you can save and load is your character. And then depending on how many controllers you've got, it gives you a different rows of them. And then you can say, I'm going to be one of the characters from the save file, or a new character. Here will be a new character. I've got this classic on-screen keyboard. We'll make a new character called me. Done. And I will be a water fairy. I mentioned this on a previous stream, but I'm making this game based on like a fantasy game that my daughters play all the time. Fantasy game meaning like they're pretending, a pretend game that they play together, which has like this whole pantheon of different kind of fairies and abilities and stuff. Anyway, oh, I forgot to actually put 2 players in there. This is not split screen, is it? Take 2. And then yep. And then this one I have to use the controller. There's the input system in Godot is not very well suited for local multiplayer. And there is oh yeah, this is the keyboard, I guess. That's not another one on the floor. There is a PR for Godot 4 that will make it slightly easier, but it's just hard. Like basically, this is hard to explain exactly what the problem is, but like you have the one input map, right? But at certain points, you want to have a single screen where different inputs are controlling different parts of it, not like the split screen, but like this first window. Like we haven't gone split screen yet, but I want this controller to control this thing and that part to control that thing. Okay, great. Then you go into the actual split screen, and now you want to have the input associated with just those viewports. And if you put UI controls in any of them, then everything goes crazy, right? Because there's only one focus. I guess the PR for Godot that would make this easier is the multi-focus. The multi-focus PR. Anyway, I'm going too far down this rabbit hole of a thing we're not even working on today. But that is going well. But otherwise, yeah, not much has been going on. How have you guys been doing? Nobody has piped up about how your projects are going and stuff. Yeah. So okay. So both controls will be used by one player. And that becomes confusing. But then even with this multi-focus PR, which here I'll bring it up, it still doesn't like fully solve the problem because we still just have the one input map. So this multi-focus PR is amazing, and I'm really excited to try it. It's going to be 100% required to make my fairy game thing like work even remotely well. I can't find it. I can't find the PR. Multi-focus. Focus. Split screen. It's not explicitly for split screen, but here we go. Add support for multiple controls to be focused at once. So this makes it so that you have focus layers, and you can decide that a particular control, and I think possibly viewport, I think you can say a whole viewport is on a particular focus layer. So then what you would do is you would say, okay, each of the different players, the controls that they want to address are on a different focus layer. But you still just have the one input map. And all of the controls are driven by like the UI underscore actions. And so you have to either say that all the UI actions are driven by all gamepads all the time. So then, you're on this focus layer, but it's still the same UI left, UI up, UI down, UI whatever. But now this gamepad's associated with it, and it has that focus. Where am I? I think I'm actually mixing this up. Okay, so I think you actually have to do the reverse. You have to now split them up. Oh, I'm so confused. I've been like way too deep into this. I can't even accurately explain the problem. but it's complicated. Like even in my tiny demo so far, I have to do a whole bunch of stuff where I'm like dynamically changing the input map depending on what we're doing, so that the like wrong player doesn't have control of the wrong thing at the wrong time. It would be, I think, like the thing that would make this actually easy in Godot would be to have this multi-focus thing, but then also have some way to have like multiple input maps. But I don't know how you would decide when and how a particular input map applies. Anyway, we're not working on that at all today. So let's get off of that tangent, unless you guys are interested in that tangent, in which case speak up in the chat, and then I'd be happy to dig into it more, because it is a very interesting problem, and one that I've never had to deal with before, because I've never tried to make a split screen multiplayer game in Godot before. So yeah. The thing that I was intending to work on today is SG Physics 2D. A lot of people have been asking on Discord about when SG Physics 2D is going to be available for Godot 4, and when will the rollback netcode add-on be available for Godot 4. And I'm just like, I really want it to be true. I want those things to happen. I just haven't had the time to make them fully happen yet. So I think that's what we're going to work on, because I just need to power through it. The problem has been, at least recently over the last couple of months, is that I have been focused more on making GDExtension better than actually working on my GDExtension, that being SGPhysics 2D. In the beginning, because like things just wouldn't work that we needed to work for SGPhysics 2D. But now, like that, the bare minimum is settled. I think for Godot 4.1, I can release something that doesn't have all the features but has the core ones, and it works. So yeah, we're close. We're really, really close, guys. We're getting there. The place that we are at presently is there's really... Here, let me look at my notes. I'm actually not sure which notes I put these in. I have too many notes, Okay, so the main like big chunks of code that need to get written are we need to finish implementing all the editor plugins. We worked on that on last stream. We're not going to work on that again this stream because it's not, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's busy work. It's not super interesting work. I mean, I guess it's all busy work, but whatever. It's more busy than the other work. And the other part is trying to convert SGPhysics 2D to be more Godot 4-ish, which is what I want to work on today. So we have been porting SGPhysics 2D from Godot 3 to Godot 4, largely unchanged. The API remains the same. Part of the way that SGPhysics 2D works, though, is that it tries to have its physics nodes mimic the normal Godot physics nodes. So have a similar, as much as we can, API. Importing this from Godot 3 to Godot 4, we have nodes in Godot 4 that resemble the Godot 3 physics nodes. Like, for example, in Godot 4, there is no kinematic body. It is now character body, but we still have SG kinematic body 2D, right? Which still has like the old API from Godot 3's kinematic body. So we need to convert that stuff. And the other thing, this change that I've been wanting to do for like literal years, and then I was looking at it this morning and I don't think we can do it. So the change that I've wanted to do for years is we have to make up some of our own like math primitives that use fixed point as opposed to floating point. So we have our own SG fixed vector 2, SG fixed rect 2, SG fixed transform 2D that basically look just like the Godot ones, but use fixed point math. The problem is that when we make these, they are objects. They, I think, descend from ref counted. Yep, ref counted, which means that when you pass them around, they are passed by reference. So I make a fixed vector 2. I want to pass that to another function. That can get dangerous because it's passed by reference. So if that other function modifies my vector, then it changes in both places, right? It changes in the source and in this other function that I passed it to. And you don't want that usually. Usually you want a copy to happen. But because it's ref counted, it passes by reference by default. You actually have to explicitly copy. We have a copy method that we added here. Anytime that you're worried that it's going to change, right? So in this example where I'm taking this vector, let's say it's my position, right? I'm taking like my fixed position vector and passing it to another function. I will need to preemptively copy it just because what if that function changes it? It will now move my node around, right? Because that position is passed by reference. And that's annoying. It's error prone. It's easy to forget. Hello, hello, Ashton. Welcome to the stream. Happy summer from Stockholm, I'm guessing, as to what the beginning of your sentence says. Wenfrey, welcome to the stream. Ooh, you're a competing king. We both have crowns. It'll be the orcs led by D. Snowpack versus the braided humans led by Wenfrey. So anyway, this is error prone, having these things be passed by reference and having to manually remember to copy them. So this change that I've been planning to do with the move to Godot 4 since forever is that rather than using our own sgfixvector2, we'd be able to use a new data type that's available to GDScript, which is vector2i, right? Because that is a vector that stores integers rather than floats. And I thought, hey, we can use this data type, which is a primitive data type. It's like a primitive variant type. So it passes by value, right? We could use this type, and then we just have to take all of the methods that we had on, sgfixvector and put them on like a singleton somewhere. And then you'll like call the methods on the singleton, passing in vector2i, and then everything will be happy because it's passed by value. The problem is, hey, Bimdav, welcome to the stream. I don't know why I'm seeing like abbreviated names in my Discord. Why are the names in Discord right now? Since like 20 minutes ago, it shows Bimdav as B ... Ren and Ricardo as R ... Has anyone else encountered this? Like, what is up with you, Discord? Discord is weird. Well, anyway. Yeah, so using vector2i will be nice, or I guess I should say would be nice, because we can't do it. It would be amazing, and I would love to be able to use vector2i, but it won't work. For a reason that is so obvious, I don't know why this didn't occur to me until this morning, but we don't have enough bits. Vector2i stores two 32-bit numbers, two 32-bit integers, but our fixed point format requires a 64-bit integer. Yeah? Yeah? So, I think we're stuck with the way we did it in Godot 3. Here, let me go to the Godot source code. Why did it open in this screen? Go over here. In Godot 4, we have this option to compile the engine with double precision, which will make a vector2 store two doubles rather than two floats. But we can't even use that because compiling Godot with double precision doesn't double the vector2i type. It just doubles the... this is the wrong project. I should not talk and try to do things at the same time, which I guess is the definition of streaming. I shouldn't stream. All right, let me do one thing, which is get to the file. And then start talking. Okay. Yeah, vector2i is two 32-bit integers. If we look at vector2, we can see that it uses real t, and real t switches between being a float or a double depending on a compile time option. So I don't know, like, we could make a patch for Godot that makes double precision switch these to int64ts. That would be cool. But unless we do that, like, it's just not an option for us. Bimdav says, you are basically the head of Godot now. You can make 64-bit vector2i's happen. But I'm very disappointed by that. So we would have had vector2i. We would have also had rect2i. But it has the same problem. A rect2i is composed of a point2i and a size 2i, which are just aliases. They're just type defs for vector2i. I mean, we could maybe use vector2i as the thing that you pass into methods, but then internally we just immediately say, okay, no, instead we're going to use 64 bits for those two things, because generally when you're using SGPhysics2D, the input numbers aren't that big. Like I guess the rule of thumb that we put in the README is that you shouldn't be using vectors that are greater than 30,000 real-world units on either the X or the Y, which that would fit. That would fit in a 32-bit number, right? Let's do some math here. So 30,000 times 65536 is this number. I think that fits in a 32-bit number, because shouldn't that go up to 24 whatevers those are? 2 vector 2 eyes, one for the top half, the other for the bottom half. That would be a hilariously old school solution. I love it, but no. So can I answer this question in Python? What is 2 to the 32nd? That gives us junk. No, this wouldn't fit even in, or wait, hang on. Trying to get my decimal places right here. Oh no, it would fit. It would fit. Sweet. So we could conceivably say that the vector 2i is just for the input numbers, and then internally we do all the math inside the engine with 2 64-bit integers. But then that means that like normal people can't do just like plain fixed point math, can't implement their own stuff. Like all of the functions that we have on sgfixed, the sgfixed singleton, for doing just like, you know, math, doing powers and logarithms and you know, all of the trig functions. I mean, I guess probably the trig functions don't get that big. I don't know. Still, I think we can't do it. I think we just have to give up on this thing. I think we probably should make a proposal to Godot to also double the size of integers, or of vector 2i's in precision double, just for the heck of it, and see what do the other maintainers and contributors and everybody think. But I don't know. I wouldn't hold out a ton of hope for it. On like a technical level, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing that would need to happen, which is that the variant type would need to get bigger. So the reason that we have this separate like compile time option to double precision, and we don't just always use double precision, is that variants take up 20 bytes normally, which is big. You know, a variant holds like, it's like the generic data type that can hold any data type in Godot. It's the thing that allows, you know, in GDScript to have a single variable that holds an int or a float or an object or whatever. And they're 20 bytes, which is as small as I guess we could get them, but probably like, you know, not as small as in an ideal world you would like. And with double precision, they become 36 bytes, which is even bigger. So it definitely makes sense that it's like a compile time option, but the variant going from 20 bytes to 36 bytes is exactly the same thing that we would need to have 64-bit integers on a vector 2i. Yeah, exactly. BIMDAV says the int Godot type is 64 bits, right? That is correct. It is surprising that vector 2i is two 32-bit values. Float is 32 bits. Vector 2 is two 32-bit values, right? Yes. So vector 2 is two 32-bit floats. So it makes sense that vector 2i is also two 32-bit integers. And the whole thing is that it allows them to fit within a variant. And there's like some weird special pools thing for the bigger data types, but all the rest of these just share the same bit of memory. The same, here we go. It's a big union of all of this stuff to hold, you know, our 64-bit int and a bunch of random bytes, which is where our vector 2i's go. Yeah. Create custom native data type is not possible. Yes, it is not possible. To make a like primitive value, that means another type of variant. And the types of variants are hard-coded into variant. It is a list that can only be expanded by modifying the core engine. It's not something we could do from a GD extension. I don't think it's ever something we could do from a GD extension. We would need to convince the Godot developers, or like say, hey, you have to use a patch version of Godot to make this work. And the Godot core maintainers are really reluctant to expand what can be contained in a variant because it makes everything slower or bigger across the whole engine, right? Like the whole engine is full of variants. The way that GDScript works is entirely based on variants. So like the fact that we have our I types now actually is kind of amazing that those were added. Yeah. Hey, Adam Scott, welcome to the stream. We were just discussing something that is up your alley about how GDScript is full of variants. Adam Scott being one of the members of the GDScript team. Anyway, yeah, so we can't do that thing, but we can do the other thing. We can still go through and make our nodes match the API of the Godot 4 nodes. So I think straight off the bat, what we're going to do is we're going to rename our SG kinematic body 2D to be SG character body 2D and try to mimic the Godot API. We don't need to blame anyone. Technology is a series of trade-offs. There is never a right answer. There is just an answer that makes one thing slightly better and another thing slightly worse. And you just try to triangulate to the place that you want to be for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Anyway. Let's hop over to the code here. We'll find our SG kinematic body 2D. I'm thinking that we'll keep the internal engine still referring to these things as kinematic bodies. It really doesn't matter. It's just a name. A kinematic body under any other name would smell just as, I don't know. But we're going to rename the node type. So... I think that's F2, yep. SG character body 2D. Character body 2D. Let's rename this one also. I think, yeah, let's do some search and replace here. Well, probably not for the header files. Those I'll just do by hand. Or no, because they'll be linked from other places as well. Okay, let's do SG kinematic body 2DH. Body 2DH. Is that Control Enter? Nope. Shift Enter? Nope. Control Alt Enter. All right. Replace. All right. Then we have some SG kinematic body 2D. Replace that with SG character body 2D. Oh, and you are doing this only in the Godot 4 code, right? Right? I hope. Godot 4, Godot 4. I mean, I may need to go back after I do all these search and replaces and just verify that I haven't been modifying the Godot 3 code. Because it's all in one repo. We're doing like a single repo that has both the Godot 4 and Godot 3 code all together, both sharing the same internal physics engine. All right, let's look here. I think this register types is a Godot 3 class. It's not in the Godot 3 folder because of like weirdness with how modules work in Godot 3. We can like point at a particular directory, and I tried to move as much of that into this like sub directory for Godot 3, but the register types I think had to remain. So let's go register types. I left a note for myself. Note! This is used for building the Godot 3 module. All right, so here we need to undo what I just did, which actually let's do that from Git. Let's undo it from Git. git checkout dash dash, and this guy. All right, and then I'm just gonna skim through the diff here, the git diff, and see what we can see. Oh, I just noticed all my copyright end dates are out of date. Config.py, yeah, that looks correct. But that might be the config.py for Godot 3. Good catch, Winfrey. Let me see. Yes, this is also for the Godot 3 module. Thank you. Thank you for catching that. All right. Let's take a look at the diff again. There really wasn't that many changes, honestly. Yeah, because the rest of this was just the header and source file for kinematic body themselves. So let's add this to Git. I think that covers everything. I don't want to commit these Godot CPP changes. I don't remember what they are, but it's probably from when I was hacking on some GDExtension thing and just testing it over in SGPhysics 2D. It is nice having, so I've like, for hacking on GDExtension, we just started a unit test suite. We'll call it a suite. It doesn't have very many tests in it yet, though. And then there's like some demo projects and this project that I can run GDExtension changes in and see did we break anything. All right, and then maybe let's just commit this rename, or let's compile the rename, test it, and then commit it, and then we'll go to the more detailed work. Yep, see, it didn't work. Then we'll go to the more detailed work of changing the API. Extra tokens at the end of if-in-def. Oh, it caught our header guards, which it shouldn't have. I should have had case sensitivity turned on. All right. Oop. That's interesting. Okay. I hit undo to undo that I accidentally deleted that whole line, and it appeared to have undo like the rename. Oh, and we have to get this SG kinematic collision renamed too. All right, there might be more to do before the rename part of this is done. So SG character body 2D H, SG character body 2D H. All right, try to compile again. All right, well that seemed to work, which is good. Now let's look for kinematic collision. SG kinematic collision 2D. What is this called in Godot for? Is it just character collision? Let's go check. Yeah, let's, I guess, run this project. No, because that's going to break things. Let's run just a random empty project. Godot for empty 2. And let's look in here. Character collision? No. Collision. I suppose we can also just go look at character body. Yeah, okay, let's go look at character body 2D. Kinematic collision 2D? It's still called kinematic collision? I mean, I'm down, but I'm surprised. Character body returns a kinematic collision 2D. Interesting. I wonder why that was done. Maybe because they're still considering it as kinematic movement internally, even though the node has been renamed to character body. I suppose also because character body isn't the only node that can move kinematically, right? Because can't you move static bodies kinematically too? I think that's right. So move and slide. Yeah, okay, so move and slide is a character body thing, but I think static body 2D, I think that they both descend from physics body, which has move and collide. All right, so that makes sense. So in Godot 3, the only node with move and collide was kinematic body, but in Godot 4, all physics bodies, it appears, can be move and collided, so they can all do basic kinematic motion. So okay, cool. That makes sense. So then we don't need to rename that. We're done. We're done. We may need to make some changes in the physics server. The physics server is still not internal. It's not part of the internal physics engine. It's still on the Godot side. So the functions here should be named... Hang on a second. Okay, this is interesting. So in line with what I was just talking about, with how you can move static bodies kinematically in Godot 4, I think you can already do that in SG Physics 2D, to be honest. But that does change the framing here. So the body type is going to be character. I think I didn't put that in there. Or maybe I did. We'll just put it explicitly. Explicit is nice. I like explicit. And so then if we said body, move, and collide, I think we can call this on a static body. I think it'll let us. Yeah, it just won't let us call it on an area. Okay, so SG Physics 2D goes one step further in sort of treating areas and bodies essentially the same. It's just a flag to say is it a body or is it an area? But yeah, it looks like this will already let us run it on either static body or kinematic body, which is great because that makes it easier to implement this new API. We're going to have to also allow our nodes to do the same thing that the normal physics nodes in Godot 4 do. So that's great. Okay, so physics server. We now have this character, which means I'm going to need to look for body kinematic, which also exists internally, but we're going to leave it internally. We're going to leave it alone internally. I think calling it kinematic is fine. I don't care. It's, yeah. But everywhere that touches the Godot 4 side is going to refer to it as a character body character. All right, and this should work because we use the same ID, and I think the num just gets cast when it passes it into the internal physics engine. Okay. Anything else on just this rename? Let's just look for the word kinematic. So those are Godot 3 things. This is Godot 4, but kinematic collision is fine. We need to rename this file. Yeah, everything about this file needs to change. Let's go to this is the XML file for the docs, which GDExtension can still not expose anything to the docs. Hey Dial, welcome to the stream. You are also a king? There's so many kings today. I forget who it was who was a king before. They've already been hidden from the screen, but we could have a war of 3 kings like in Game of Thrones. Yeah, so in GDExtension, it's still not possible to provide documentation, but there is a PR for it. It's in the works. I imagine in 4.2, we will be able to successfully do that. So for now, I just want to kind of keep things vaguely up to date-ish for when that day comes. So we need to find kinematic body, SG kinematic body 2D. We need to rename this XML file to SG character body 2D. Dial says, I want to get into game development. Any starting tips? Yeah. I invite anyone else who's on the stream to give their tips as well. But getting started, like game jams, I highly recommend. It probably makes sense to like get warmed up a little bit before you go commit to a game jam, so that you're not like learning from scratch at the game jam. But the added like pressure and excitement, and if you're on a team or in a physical place, like the extra energy and motivation, it's just a great experience, and you'll learn like a ton in a really short period of time. They aren't necessarily for everyone though. Like I love them, but I know some people who aren't crazy about them. They find them too stressful, too anxiety inducing. Not for me. I love them. But I don't know, advice beyond that, start small, make lots of little things. I don't know. Anyone else have any good getting started in game dev advice? I don't know. So we'll say this is character physics body. Ooh, I've been bringed. Someone has Twitch subscribed. Thank you very much. Your bodies are intended to be controlled directly by code. Matic. Yeah, that all seems good. All right, I think we're getting there. We can make this commit and then dig into the lower bits of the API here. Yep. That all looks good in the git diff. I'm going to git add those. Let's just quick compile, make sure it still compiles. Ash says, those were the things I would have said too. The make small things is really important. Yeah. Yeah, it's really easy for some reason when people start something new, and this isn't exclusive to game dev. This is like any new hobby or any new skill or whatever. There's a tendency that people have to like go make this enormous, crazy thing, and that can actually sort of work for some people in a way. Like they may never actually finish that big thing, but they'll learn so much in the process that it actually is fine. That by the time they abandon that big thing and go do other things, now they've like leveled up their skills or whatever. But for most people, it doesn't work. For most people, it doesn't work because like one thing may not have that many parts to it, and so your learning could be very narrow. There's also a very high probability of getting really frustrated and giving up because you're not achieving things on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. Whereas doing a lot of different things means you'll learn a wide variety of things, not just in a narrow area, and also you'll have a lot of wins. Like, it feels so good to finish a game jam and have a completed thing that people can play, and people are playing it, and they're telling you what they think of it. And if you participate in like the Godot Wild Jam, which is a great monthly virtual jam, it's just like coordinated on a Discord and itch. There's a bunch of people who always stream the games from the jam, and the way it usually works is like whoever turns up to the stream, they're more likely to play your game as opposed to like random other games. So like you can actually go to some of these streams and watch other people play your game and tell you about your game while they're playing it in real time. Like, it's really, really cool. It's an amazing experience that feels like you're winning to a huge degree, which is very motivating and really really great. Let me see what everyone else has been saying. Pick a language and focus on it, then do toy-like small playable scenes to death to practice. Also good advice. Just get started. Starting is the scariest part. Once you do make some small games, don't try to make your dream game from the get-go. You'll very quickly get discouraged by lack of progress. Yes, exactly. That, 100%. Go big or go home, and they went home. So many people come in wanting to make their Minecraft Final Fantasy 14 crossover game, and they get burnt out on the distance. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, this go to that link, snowpetgames.com/discord. That will redirect you to a Discord invitation, and then you can get in here. Yeah, that's some really great advice, guys. Thanks for sharing that as well. Okay. So let's commit this. Renamed SG kinematic body 2D to SG character body 2D. All right, next up, because I have it on my mind, we are going to have to move and collide from character body now, formerly kinematic body, up to the parent of both of them, which I think is physics body. SG... What is it called? SG bodies? SG bodies to D internal. Let's let VS Code help us find our way. So SG collision object. Okay, SG collision object, which is the parent of... Is it also the parent of area? Because that will make life a little bit harder for us. We may need to make a new node type that's just bodies. Let's see, so area 2D also descends from collision object. Okay, so new hierarchy here. We're going to have collision object that area 2D descends from, and then also we'll make a new SG physics body 2D that will then have character body 2D and static body 2D descend from. Ash says, when trying to develop a skill, the best thing is to not be happy or sad with how close you get to your goal, but to be curious about what happens when you use your current skills and experiment and stretch yourself. This is like really amazing advice, a really great point. Don't judge yourself too much. Because objectively, the first couple things you make will probably be terrible, and you'll be able to easily see that they are terrible, but they're your first things. And that's how they're supposed to be. And so you shouldn't even think about that. Like, don't even make a value judgment about how good or bad the thing is. Just be excited that you made a thing and it worked. And maybe people played it. Like, that's just, be excited about that part and not necessarily the quality. Because the quality will come with experience. But yeah. Exactly. Instead of being like, or wait, hang on. Instead of being like, yeah, I did it, or I didn't do it as well as expected, aim for what happens if me with my current skills tries to make an X. Yeah, that's also a good way of framing it. I personally think like being happy with, yeah, I did it is also good. But yeah, definitely like if you can divorce yourself from the emotional part and focus more on like just a curiosity and exploring mindset, I think that works really good too. Oh yeah, use version control. That's a I don't okay. Giving that advice to like people who are not coming from a technical background may be putting up like a roadblock that might be discouraging. But if you don't find it discouraging, if you learn a little bit of version control, it is very helpful for being able to experiment and not being too worried that you're going to break everything, right? So version control allows you to like make commits of your progress, and then you can experiment and say, oh, that's no good, and just roll back to the last good state, or to have several branches so you can explore two different ways and have them both exist simultaneously without having to like copy around directories and I don't know. Ooh, you do use version control. Brilliant. Ah, that's fantastic. Yes, so definitely stick with the version control. Yeah. Quality is subjective, but I mean like because we are all also consumers of this art form, we can also actually judge like, do I like this game? And sometimes the answer might be no. But yeah, so it's tricky, but like having the right mindset is super important. Yeah, I mean, AI is interesting. I have been enjoying using the AI bots to ask about things that are hard to look up. But yeah, I would be interesting I would be very curious to see how that affects how people learn new skills in the future. Anyway, so we need to make a new class. It's new class time. We will call it SG Physics Body 2D, which I'm not sure if that's a good name. I may change my mind later off stream, but let's just get started here. Throw in our good old copyright notice. SG Physics Body 2DH 2 times. And yeah, I'll copy a class declaration too, because then I don't have to try and type this stuff from memory. SG Physics Body 2D, which is going to descend from SG Collision Object 2D. We need to include that file as well. SG Collision Object 2D. SG Physics Body 2D. SG Collision Object 2D. Okay, we have that much boilerplate done. We're going to need a bind methods, because you always need a bind methods. And we are going to need a constructor. Or do we need a constructor? How do constructors work in GDExtension land? I guess we just need a constructor that takes no arguments. Yeah, that's the restriction in GDExtension. And let's make sure that the right destructors are virtual. So SG collision object, it has a destructor, and we are descending from it, so this needs to be virtual. All right. So that should be enough. Right. How do virtual destructors work again? We can ask AI. Okay, so if I make this one's destructor virtual, does that mean I have to do it for each of the children too, or is it like fine? Does only like one in the chain need to have a virtual destructor? I'm just going up the chain here to see if any of these have a virtual destructor. Okay, so all the way up to the top, object has a virtual destructor. Does that mean we're good? Are we just good now? Since the topic of AI has come up, let's ask ChatGPT. If a parent class has in C++, if a parent class has a virtual destructor, will all child classes destructors down the whole hierarchy get called? Let's see. Yes, if the parent class, okay, but all child classes in the hierarchy. Behavior is known as polymorphic destruction, virtual destructor chaining. This might not be true, but ChatGPT has delivered its answer on stone tablets to us. We could also look at CPP reference, which is very, very good. Ooh, yeah, search. What? No. Virtual 2. Virtual destructor is usually acquired in a base class. Deleted implicitly declared destructors. T is a direct virtual base class. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. You guys probably already answered this question for me in the chat because you guys are smarter than me, at least in this context. Ash says, I keep having people show me stuff they got an AI to make for them, and they're so excited, and every single time I'm like, if a human had made this, I would call it crap and tell them to redo it. Is Godot a good starting point for me, or should I just go for a more popular one like Unity or Unreal? Godot is quite easy to learn. I am not personally experienced with Unity or Unreal, but talking with people who are experienced with them, it sounds like those require a longer learning curve. Godot also is getting more popular every year. I think we're like one big Unity mistake away from Unity being in serious trouble and Godot gobbling up its market share. But that also could never happen, right? If Unity just sort of keeps riding this line of almost totally pissing off its developers, but not quite. But yeah. Ash, let's see if ChatGPT can tell the truth today. It told the truth this time. It got it. I mean, I could have gone here first, but this is a lot harder to read. CPP reference is amazing, but not very. Like you have to come with a lot of background knowledge or read for a long time to get an answer. Okay, so anyway, returning to the original thing, I don't need to make any of my destructors virtual because further up the chain there is a virtual destructor. So let me just kill this change here. Okay, so back to SG physics body. This one, we were there already. And we want to move, okay, so first let's put this in the context of its hierarchy. We want static body to descend now from physics body. SG physics body to D. And we want kinematic body, or I'm sorry, character body to descend from SG physics body to D. SG physics body to D. We're going to need to register it. Let's add that before I forget. We'll put it right before the static body and character body. What is it complaining about, though? Why did it give me those squigglies? All right. So then what I want to do is extract move and collide from here and move it up into this new physics body. Expected a declaration? Why are you saying expected a declaration? What are you talking about? What is happening? VS Code has lost its mind and I'm not seeing why. Oh, is this a paren instead of a curly? It was a paren instead of a curly. Okay. I need glasses. I couldn't quite make out the shape of that symbol. All right, so moving collide. We're gonna need to move the implementation as well. So let's go in here. Oh, I forgot we need to change the O. We're using a non-default constructor. So if I don't declare a constructor, will it just use one that's equivalent to the parents? We can try that and see what happens. We could also ask ChatGPT. We could ask ChatGPT if it knows the answer to this question. SG physics body 2D. Let's just get rid of this. And then we'll go back to here. Nope, not here. The CPP file. And let's do SG physics body 2D. Or do I have to redeclare it and pass stuff? Getting squiggles. No instance of constructor matches argument list. Okay, so we do have to make one. And I guess that means we also have to make a default constructor because GDExtension requires there to be one. Okay, so, or not a default, an argument list constructor. SG physics body 2D. We'll do that one first, and then I'll go to collision object and copy this one. That needs to go here. And then we'll make, hang on, you gotta rename this. We'll make some nice implementations of those. Let me see what's going on in chat, though. ChatGPT says go for Godot. I asked, oh my god, when ChatGPT first came out, I was asking it all sorts of ridiculous things. I asked it to write an episode of Star Trek for me, the original series, of course, where Spock is teaching Captain Kirk how to use the Godot game engine. And it came up with something that's amazing. Hang on. Big detour incoming. I posted on Mastodon a long time ago, but this is the only way I'm going to find it. I'm just going to keep scrolling. Come on. You know you're in there. Oh, is this it? All right. You guys, are you ready? Captain Kirk sat at the console of the bridge of the USS Enterprise trying to make sense of the unfamiliar interface of the Godot game engine. Spock, I don't understand how to use this thing, he said, frustration clear in his voice. Spock walked over and stood beside him, his calm and logical demeanor a stark contrast to Kirk's agitation. It is a matter of understanding the underlying principles, Captain, he said. The Godot game engine is built on a node-based system, where each element of your game is represented by a node. You can create connections between those nodes to define how they interact with each other. Kirk looked skeptical. But how do I make the characters move or the environment change? He asked. Ah, that is where the power of signals comes in, Spock explained. Each node can emit signals to indicate that something has happened, and other nodes can listen for those signals and respond accordingly. For example, you could create a button node that emits a pressed signal when the player clicks on it, and a character node that listens for your pressed signal and moves in response. Kirk nodded, beginning to see the possibilities. I see, he said. And what about scripting? Should I keep going? Anyway, it is amazing for entertainment purposes. I highly recommend asking ChatGPT to write you absurd episodes. I had it write me some about some Doctor Who episodes and some other things. But yeah, I love it. Carrying on. What has everyone been saying in chat? Where did I leave off here? Godot is so hardware friendly, it's almost unfair to the competition. Yeah, I mean, less so in Godot 4, but definitely like in general, the wide variety of hardware that it'll work on. Unity is drunkenly wobbling on the edge of a cliff and keeps wobbling further, but never falling. So true. Where can I show it to others on this Discord? You can show either in like general, because not that much happens in general, or the prototyping channel is for the whole purpose of it is for people to share little game prototypes that they make. We'll put cartoon physics and fall sometimes after falling off the cliff. If you don't know a lot of languages or don't find new languages easy, grabbing the mini version of Godot and using C# will give you transferable language skills to other, or mono, not mini, version of Godot. Yeah, I think the fact that Godot supports C# is a huge asset to Godot, given like the wide range of people who already know C#. Oh, and Dial, if you know Java, like C# it's Java. It's Java. Just with like some shorter, less verbose. Oh, Ash actually wrote that. C# is Java, but actually used in real life. Ooh, Dial's got a roll. Prefer using GDScript these days because it has a couple of Godot engine integrations that are really nice. Yeah, it is solid. I guess Android is Java first, isn't it? Yep. And more so, what is the one that they made up? They made up a new dealie, a new thingamadoo for Android. These stories it generates always have a tone that you can tell it was trained on fan fiction. Yes, but glorious. When is the subgenre of fan fiction combining Star Trek and Godot going to really kick off? Like, I think we're moments away from it becoming mainstream, don't you? All right, that was a big tangent. Let's try to get back on track a little bit here. But yeah, thank you everyone again for all of the great like getting started game dev and getting started with Godot advice. I think that's you guys were saying some fantastic tips. All right, we need to write some constructors. Do we not have a CPP file yet? We do not. We need to make one. SG physics body 2D CPP, and we will start as always with our glorious copyright MIT license declaration there. SG physics body 2D, and I guess yeah, let's start with the constructors, which are going to be really easy to write because they're just going to forward to the parent. SG physics, SG collision object 2D. Yep, that's the whole thing. There we go. And the other one, which takes an RID and then passes along the RID. Done. Okay. And we're copying the move and collide function from character body. So we need to go get that. Move and collide. Okay, I will need to do the bind methods. I forgot to start that in our CPP file. Void SG physics body 2D bind. Not mind methods, bind methods. And move and slide, move and collide. Oh, this is nice and easy too. I think that's an even bigger argument for why this is like a basic thing that belongs on all physics bodies, that move and collide is a basic thing that belongs on all physics bodies, and move and slide is like a character body thing. I deleted the wrong thing. SG. Ooh, someone named Sasha has followed me on Mastodon. My older daughter is also named Sasha. Not spelled that way, though. Spelled a different way. Let's go back to our header file here. We need to forward declare kinematic collision. Let's copy the forward declaration that I thought was here, but that's not here. No, hang on. It was in SG character body here. I'm getting myself lost in my files here. All right, there we go. Hello, Ruben. Welcome to the stream. Oh, and there's the Sasha that may or may not have just subscribed on Mastodon. Welcome, guys. Oh, Ruben. Ruben was maybe going in the nude on the overlay. Sasha's got a mustache and a purple shirt. We are build. Oh, you said how's it going, mate? For some reason, I thought, Ruben, you were asking what I was making. Mate and make very close when you have bad eyesight and you're not looking very, very diligently. It's going good. It's going good. All right, so is this enough here? No, we need to include the physics server, which, where is it? Servers, okay, does that mean, are we doing these relative paths or not? Okay, we're doing relative paths, so this is the right way to do that. I think I used to use not relative paths, but like from the root of the project, but that created problems when I had switched to trying to house both the Godot 3 and Godot 4 code in the same repo, and ended up having to do this this very ugly relative paths thing. Okay, and then physics server, did we like make a local variable for that on character body? Character body. I don't know. Let's go to CPP file, see how it's able to just say physics. Physics server. Physics body. Did I like fail to copy something? No, physics server, pointer to incomplete. Oh, okay, it's not complaining about that. It's complaining about something else. SG collision object 2D internals. We are missing a header file. Hey, where did I disappear? Ruben says, yeah. So at some point, there you are with your big beard and clotheslessness. At some point, people were getting annoyed by the characters covering the whole screen, and so we added this thing where the characters fade away after 5 minutes. I think it's too short. At some point, because the overlay is a Godot game, so we can change it however we want. At some point, I'm gonna increase that to maybe 15 minutes, and then also give myself a button that I can hit to make everybody reappear. Because I do sometimes miss people, and I like being able to see what people's characters look like. Yes, we are doing physics. We are doing physics. We are trying to. We're working in general on porting SG Physics 2D from Godot 3 to Godot 4, and specifically, we are trying to make the API more Godot 4-ish, whereas previously we had just directly ported everything from Godot 3. So now we're trying to make the SG Physics 2D physics nodes and objects look like their Godot 4 counterparts rather than their Godot 3 counterparts. Pointer to incomplete class. SG collision object 2D internal is not allowed. So that would be include. We go up to internal here. No, one more to internal. Yes, one more to internal. And collision object. I think that's in SG bodies 2D internal, right? Yeah, we got it. Okay. So I think we've moved the one method successfully. Well, this is complaining because we don't have the schema. All right. Sounds complicated if you ask me. Yeah, you know, it's not super complicated. It's more like what we're doing now is probably bordering more on busy work, but every time you're digging into making a GDExtension or dealing with engine code, things do get a little bit complicated. You could adjust the timer based on the number on screen. That is an interesting idea. I like that. That if it's getting overcrowded, we boot people quicker. ErieDev says, so you built your own physics engine for Godot 3? Yes, I did, and we are porting it to Godot 4. So it is a deterministic 2D physics engine based on fixed point math. The deterministic part is why I made it. So Godot's built-in physics engine is not deterministic, and it never will be. It's not one of the goals of Godot's physics, I guess. And I needed deterministic physics to implement rollback netcode. So SG Physics 2D, an open source thing, you can go get it. Also, the Godot rollback netcode add-on is an open source Godot add-on for Godot 3, which will eventually make it to Godot 4 as well, to help with implementing rollback netcode. So that's what that is. It's actually interesting. Someone just posted a thing on in like the Godot issue queue saying like they wanted a button, or no, they wanted a project setting to make Godot's physics engine use fixed point math and be deterministic, which is a really unrealistic thing to ask. I mean, I guess from the perspective of a non-technical person, it's what they want, and I won't fault someone for that. But yeah, that's an impractical thing to want. What we're doing, like adding a couple extra nodes in a GDExtension, is a much more practical way to have deterministic physics in Godot. All right, so what were we doing? We were moving a method. Let's see if we can compile. Can we compile? And will it compile our... Oh, okay, so we have to change this to a different... because it's got a new parent class. So that's one. But I also just want to see, is it compiling physics body, or do we need to add it to something in a list somewhere? Let's actually go look at the sconstruct, the sconstruct here, and see if we need to... This doesn't look like my code. It is not. Okay, it's an sconstruct in another folder named very similarly. Oh, it'll catch it. It looks like it's just using a like a wildcard. Okay, so let's go fix. This is an SG static body 2D, SG static body 2D. And this is going to now be SG physics body 2D. our new parent class in the hierarchy here. And what are you complaining at me about? It's not a direct base class. It should be. Did I forget to change something? SG static body 2D, SG static body, SG physics body 2D, SG physics body 2D. Is VS Code losing its mind, or did I do something wrong? Oh, I think it's just showing me the old error, and it hasn't been cleared out because we haven't recompiled again. Yeah, okay. That'll go away as soon as we recompile. Oh, VS Code. All right. So that compiled. That's good. I guess let's maybe commit this since we have made a bunch of changes. Just gonna quick look at the diff, see what it looks like, make sure everything seems right. Okay, so created SG physics body 2D for static and character bodies to descend from and move, and collide there. Your dev says, if I can ask one question, since it's clearly that you have a far better understanding of the engine than I do, how is Godot's physics engine not deterministic? Seems counterintuitive for a physics engine to have randomness in it. It's actually not counterintuitive. But so most physics engines for games are not deterministic for two reasons. The first is performance. Making a physics engine deterministic will almost inevitably make it slower. Several of the sources of determinism issues have to do with math optimizations from the compiler. And then if you're trying to get like cross-platform support for this, the different representation between floating point numbers on one platform hardware operating system and another will lead to them not being deterministic with each other. They might be deterministic within their own platform, but not with each other. So like if you're doing a network game and you want people on Xbox to play with people on Mac OS or whatever, and then to make those things line up, you are probably doing things that make the math slower. So that's reason number one. The other reason is that adding randomness into a physics simulation can help things stabilize. So, like when a physics object gets stuck in a loop and it's just sort of like dancing, and it's like it just won't stop. Like it should just be laying flat on the ground, but it just won't stop. It just keeps dancing. Adding a little bit of randomness can prevent that. So, almost all game engines, actually, almost all game physics engines will introduce some amount of randomness on purpose to try and improve stability. So I think those are the two primary reasons you would do it on purpose. The other thing is it just takes a whole bunch of extra work to make things deterministic. So this is not on purpose. This is just if you were to set determinism as your goal, you now have a whole bunch of extra work that you wouldn't have to do otherwise. And if you've already decided that determinism isn't your goal, you're going to introduce lots of little things that mess with determinism all over the place. Like, for example, order. Everything has to happen in a deterministic order for something to be deterministic, which means that you always have to use ordered data structures. And you're probably not going to always use ordered data structures because ordered data structures tend to be slower. So like, even though you're not saying like, oh, I'm trying to make this random, you just chose to use, a map instead of an ordered map. And now there is this non-determinism that is snuck into your engine, because if I start it up this time, the memory might align itself in such a way that these things happen in this order, whereas I, start it up again, and now the memory in the computer has lined itself up such that things happen in a different order. So that's the reason. From the perspective of Godot, because most games don't need determinism, And because determinism means slower, more work, and potentially stability problems, like Godot has just decided its built-in physics engine is just not going to be deterministic. However, you can get other physics engines and plug them into Godot. One of them is SG Physics 2D, which aims to be deterministic. There's other physics engines that also accomplish determinism in different ways. Supposedly Rapier is deterministic. They do not do it by using fixed point math. They still use hardware floats, but I think they're like enabling all of the flags to make them be not like the default hardware floats. They're like the IEEE hardware floats, which again are a little bit slower. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And as Godot 4 matures and more people build like add-on physics engines, you should have a plethora of options such that if you want deterministic physics, use one of these ones. If you don't care about determinism, but you want speed or some other feature of a physics engine, you can grab that one. And Godot's default one will just be kind of like a middle-of-the-road kind of thing. Does that answer your question? I hope that answers your question. All right, what was I even doing? I'm the most distractible person on earth, I swear. Wow, that was an epic explanation. Web dev by trade and game dev by hobby, so the complexity of physics is still beyond me. Yeah, physics is a thing. in game dev in general, like there's so many specialties. Like I'm very mediocre at physics, very mediocre. But like rendering, I am a total noob. I'm so lost in rendering. I've contributed a little bit to the OpenGL renderer in Godot, but only because I had to, not because I'm good at it. Like I needed a thing and no one else was going to do it, so I did the thing. But yeah, like that's an area like I just don't know at all. It's like complete whatever. It's like such a specialty. Someone has to totally specialize to know that. But then on the other hand, like I'm a specialist in multiplayer, and so like for me that's fine. That's easy because I've like dived deep into there. But then for other people, they have the same problem that I have like with rendering. We're like, oh my god, how do you even approach this? Yeah, like there's just so many parts to game dev and so many specialties, and nobody can be a specialist in all of them. So that's just, yeah. All right, so I think next I want to look at character body and compare how Godot 4 does its character body versus the still very Godot 3-ish way we have here. Like I know that in Godot 3 we have all these arguments to move and slide, and in Godot 4 these become like properties of the object, and then you just call move and slide with no arguments. So let's get that up. Yes, so like max slides, safe margin, up direction, velocity, those all become properties, which is interesting. So then does velocity just get reassigned? I think it does. Where's move and slide? Move and slide. Based on velocity, yep, and then it modifies the velocity of a slide occurs. Cool. I actually kind of like that. That's really good. That's like, what else would you do with that velocity? Although I suppose sometimes I ignore it, but it's easy even to ignore it in this case. The return value for move and slide, you would just reset it every time rather than, trying to use it again. Cool. Definitely the nature of the beast. Quantum theory suggests that in real life physics is non-deterministic. That is true. That is true. That's why we don't get unstable real life physics. You don't fall over and see objects just dance around and never settle. It must be the non-determinism of quantum reality. All right. So we need then to make a whole bunch of properties. How are we going to do that? I guess we're going to do that by first declaring the underlying properties themselves. So that would be ref sg vector 2 or fixed vector 2 velocity. What else have we got? I'm going to get rid of this at the bottom. We've got up direction. direction. Max slides, or that's an integer though. So we'll say int 64t max slides. I guess we could just say int. Doesn't matter in this case what the storage is. And I did max floor angle. Is that a part of it too? Max slides. Floor max angle. Okay. Cool. So that will need to be, for us, a floating point number. Floor max angle. Which in this case would need to be int 64t, because that is our floating or our fixed point number format. So floor max angle. And I guess just for consistency, I'll say int 64t. It only would make a difference on a 32-bit system. Yeah, I think that's everything. So now we get rid of all these arguments. This will now lose the max slides, I guess. And the return value here is now bool. Signature-wise, I think that's good. We have to declare a whole bunch of these things over in bind methods, and we'll have to make the getters and setters. Actually, probably we'll make the getters and setters first. Alexei, welcome to the stream. Hey guys, did I miss a lot? I mean, yeah-ish. At the sort of slow pace that we move. In general, we have been working on porting SG Physics 2D from Godot 3 to Godot 4, specifically trying to make the API a little bit more Godot 4-ish, with a lot of meandering distractions into AI and how to get started in game dev, and I don't know, a whole bunch of things. We were all over the place as we always are. I was not ready for these mind-blower pieces of info today. You know, it's funny because sometimes I feel like the things that people bring up in the chat and that we end up discussing end up being more interesting than the thing I came here to work on. Do we even need to work on anything, guys? Should we just not have a project that we're trying to do in the back? Maybe the project is distracting us from the very important conversation we should be having right now. All right. Oh, I was going to add the getters and setters first. Okay, so now that we have these new properties, we're going to need to be able to get and set them from GDScript. So we will put them here, because that's sort of where some other getters at least are. Oh, and here's some... Actually, yeah, maybe I'll put it up here by safe margin, because that's more normal situation. So we will need a ref sg fixed vector to get velocity. It is not const. It cannot be const. We could declare it as const, but it'll be a lie. I guess this one said it was const, but all right, we'll say it's const. It's a lie. Set velocity const as this const isn't a lie. This const means something different though. Sg fixed vector 2 p velocity, and we need the same thing for up direction. Get up direction. Set up direction. And then for max slides and floor max angle. Let me just double check that I'm naming these the same. Get set, okay, and max slides. Max slides, get set, max slides. Okay, cool. Nope, what did I hit? I hit the wrong thing. The project stream is the medium for which the good stuff can happen. Yeah, actually, like, streaming game dev is great. Or streaming any kind of dev. I mean, like, it's really anxiety-inducing, and I feel like I get to show to the world that I'm kind of an idiot and don't know all the things all the time. But it's great because it motivates me to do things that I otherwise might not be super motivated to do. So I'll like put whatever I think the highest priority thing I should work on for the stream, and then that gets me going, and then I'm like into it, and then the whole rest of the weekend I work on it. But also, you guys sometimes give me some of the most interesting suggestions that end up taking things in a totally different direction that always turns out to be better than it would be if I just coded away in my cave. So yeah, streaming dev is amazing. Everyone should do it. I highly recommend it. Set max slides. Twitch category, just chatting. Yeah. We could do that, but I don't know. I like the combo. I like the combo of trying to accomplish some dev stuff and and chatting also. I don't know if it's necessarily the most interesting watching, because I imagine there's probably some people who would be interested in the conversation half, but not interested in like the fact that we're porting a physics engine from Godot 3 to Godot 4. But I don't know. I'm not trying to be a Twitch star here. I'm just having fun. All right. I don't know why what is the deal with these dots? I don't know why those dots are there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. All right. So let's start, I guess, by implementing these. Should be really easy. Put them at roughly the same part of the H file as in the H file. So I like to do that. I was looking for a plugin at some point, an extension, I guess I should say, because that's what they're called in VS Code. But VS Code extension that would help automate some of this like annoying copy and paste stuff that you end up doing in C++ all the time. And I found a couple like kind of half-ass ones. I really wish I had a nice one, because it is quite annoying doing all this extra typing just because it's C++. Like something that I could have just clicked on the declaration and have it go to the CPP file and just put all this crap in there. Does anyone know of a VS Code extension that's good that does that? Because like I said, I did try a couple, but they just were broken and kind of not great. All right, return velocity. Velocity equals p velocity. Not equals p velocity. Turn up direction. Up direction equals. Ooh, I forgot to rename something. P up direction. P up direction. I'm gonna go over here and rename that here too. P up direction. Oh, and I messed that up here too. P floor max angle. Change that down here. P floor max angle. Yep. The busy work. Or something that could write all these setters and getters for me? Like getting a wrist cramp. So, Ash, are you saying that you are making dev streams that are chatty, or that you're watching dev streams that are chatty? Because if you are making dev streams, I would be curious to know about those. I could come hang out on your dev streams and hassle you. Anthony's Lab says, wake up? Who are you trying to wake up? I'm not asleep. I'm right here. What kind of character did you get? Ooh, you got a really sweet character. You got kind of a Hulk Hogan stash and a shield, and Looks like maybe some leather, like a leather vest, like a leather armor thing going, and possibly a bandana. Is that a bandana? Or like a very... No, that's a hat. That's a hat whose color is almost the same as your flesh color, at this distance at least. Vsauce Michael. I always struggle with bouts of productivity. I think streaming would just nuke it even more. You know, yeah, it's interesting. Like, whatever we work on stream, I'm just like so hyped for like the next 3 days. And so like it works really good that way. And it also completely prevents the sitting down to work on it and just being like, oh, I don't want to work on this. This is lame. I want to go work on something else like my fairies and bees. My fairies and bees game. I don't want to work on a physics engine. But yeah, so it's useful. But I can definitely understand. So someone's got to explain to me like this elitism about editor colors. So the reason I use a light style is because of like a combination of not having great eyesight and like needing to keep light levels even, or I like start to get migraines. But like it's really surprising, like the amount of people who just like come and trash talk what color you use for your editor. Like, this seems like a personal choice that nobody should care about, but it seems like everybody cares about it. So I don't know what that's about. If I could get some glasses and get like some serious migraine medication that worked, like maybe then I'd switch to a dark editor. But because that hasn't happened. Actually, I have related to the migraines thing, which I've talked about on stream a couple of times. I have started taking magnesium just like as a supplement, and it has helped my migraines astronomically, which is crazy because I've had like daily or almost like every other daily migraines for the last 20 years or so. And apparently taking a thing I could have gotten at Walgreens at any time has reduced the frequency of them dramatically. So I don't know if anyone else also has this issue, but it's something to try because you just go spend $5 at Walgreens and see what happens. Magnesium strips. I mean, I just take the pills. They work good. All right, so what are we even doing? Okay, we are binding some methods. So we made all those setters and getters, and now we have to bind them. Then we can declare the properties, and then we can start to rewrite the move and slide method to use those. Oh, cool. I would be very curious to see one of your streams, Ash. I'm not on Twitch enough that I would like necessarily notice just because like you went live and like the thing pinged. But so you're watching me from YouTube. That means I can't get to your Twitch via your name. But anyway, I would love to check that out sometime. Alexei, when I get used to the dark theme, the light theme affects me like sun on a vampire. Askyak. Oh, I think you've been on here with the name Askyak at some point in the past, and I did not connect that was the same person. Here, let me. I'm going to manipulate some windows here. I'm not logged into Twitch presently. I will log in, and I will subscribe, and maybe I will get lucky and get the notification at a time that would actually be convenient. SMS code! Okay. Alright, okay. I will hit... Wait, do I hit subscribe or do I hit follow? What's the one where I just know about stuff? There we go. All right, notifications are on. All right, I'm in. I'll try to keep an eye out. All right, Anthony Slab, thanks for coming. Catch you later. Have you tried those glasses with lenses that block blue light? I have not. That sounds interesting, though. That's an interesting suggestion, Sonny. Hence using dark environment and feeling assaulted by the light black screens. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I should consider changing what theme I'm using when I'm streaming. If this is like such an uncomfortable thing for people. Yeah, I mean, I guess because it would be uncomfortable for me the other way. This is something to noodle about. Maybe I will actually, because like if this does actually have a like physically negative effect on people and they're in the majority, perhaps I should adjust to when I'm being public right now, right? Because this isn't me alone on my computer. This is me publicly showing a thing. Maybe I should switch it. I will think about that. We may return next week in a dark theme. It's possible. It's a thing that could happen. We'll see. All right, get velocity, set velocity, velocity. Get up direction, set up direction, up direction. Yeah, it's not Java, but it is a lot of busy work. Get, what is the next one? It was max slides. Max slides. Get max slides. Set max slides. Max slides. Floor max angle, I think it was. All right. Whew. Don't change the theme. Use the one you feel most comfortable with. Yeah. Maybe I'll come to that same conclusion. I'm going to think about it though. Thanks for the input though. Thanks for everyone sharing their input on this. Okay, so now we can add the properties. So we are going to add, I guess, an object property for velocity. Get velocity. And another one for up direction. And then some integer properties. These integers, in fact, holding fixed point numbers in our fixed point format. Max slides. And floor max angle. Set floor max angle. Get floor max angle. All right. So now we have our properties. The next bit is to modify our move and slide and our rotate and slide to use the local variables rather than the arguments we used to have. Your eyes are most important on your stream. That's also a good piece of input. I mean, but I only have the 2 eyes. You know, if there's X number of people watching and X times 2 not my eyes, I don't know. I'll think about it. All right, so we have to change this to be a little bit different. Oh, and it's bool also. Okay, so now we can't do air conv on this. Oh, hang on. We need to make sure that someone doesn't set the velocity to null. That would be a problem. So we need to say error fail cond. So this would be p velocity is null. So that would be a problem. Up direction. So there is a valid reason for up direction to be 0, like 0, 0. That then considers every surface to be a wall and none to be floor or ceiling. But no reason for it to be null, I don't think. Oh, we're going to need to set default values to these too. We have to construct them. Okay, so what are the defaults in the Godot objects here? Or what were the defaults on the they were passed in as arguments? So up direction defaults to up on the Y, velocity to 0, 0. Max slides 4. Yeah, what did we have before? I'm just going to look in Git and see what we had before because I want to remain consistent with ourselves more so than consistent with Git because, or consistent with Godot because we've adjusted these a little bit over time. I need the header. The header doesn't put any defaults in there. Do we do it in bind methods? We must be doing it in bind methods, which should still be there. Yes. Okay, so 4 and then this value for floor max angle. So, okay, we'll go to our constructor here. And actually, hang on. Floor max angle equals this value. And I forget what that is in real world numbers, but it's what we've been using. Max slides is 4. We need to instantiate our velocity, which is fine at 0, 0. And then our up direction, we need to set to a specific value, which I think we can do. I guess that'd be ref sg fixed vector 2 here mem new sg fixed vector 2 and 0 comma negative 65536, right? Is there actually a constructor that lets me do that? No, 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 I'm in the wrong place. SG fixed vector 2. Or do I have a static method that does this? Oh, we have an internal that takes an internal vector. We could also just create it and then set the value. Like, that's not a problem. From internal, set internal, get internal. Surprised I didn't give myself a nice little helper method. Let's just do SG fixed vector to internal. Then a lot of parentheses. We're almost going Lisp here with all these parentheses. Oh, because these have to be even more parentheses. Get ready. Is that enough? Come on. Okay, there we go. Whew. All right, so those are default values for all the things we added. That's great. So we need to make sure, oh, p velocity, p up direction, that's fine. There's nothing really to validate on these two. We're using, well, I guess we're using an unsigned number. which would not be great for max slides. That would lead to an infinite loop. So let's say p max slides. I was getting confused. Am I putting the fail condition or the success condition in here? I think I'm putting the fail condition. But I can double check that. Let me just go look at the definition of this macro. If unlikely count print error. Okay, yep, we're putting the fail condition. All right. Whew. Oh man, 5 minutes left in the stream. We're not going to get terribly far on this method in the last 5 minutes here. Let me just take a quick stab at it. See where I get. No, this is velocity. We get internal. Fixed floor max angle. So this would be. Oh, it's got the same name. Floor max angle. That's gibberish. Naming. I hate you naming. Yeah, we do the same thing with up direction too. I could switch to keeping the member variables with underscores, which is a very GDScript thing to do. That would save me from trying to come up with a name here that's better. Because what would I call it? Like floor max angle fixed. And now I just have to type fixed. And then down here, this would be what? Up direction internal. That sucks. I don't want to do that. So, underscores. I don't like how it doesn't fit in with any of the rest of them, though. Because we already have like on floor and floor normal and all those, and those don't have underscores. I put internal on the end of this one. Ugh. Maybe instead of fixed, call this one internal as well. And it's always going to be valid because we're not letting it be invalid, so we don't need this check anymore. Fixed vector to internal. Yeah, this is ugly. I don't like having to name things like this, but... Oh, and we're doing a thing where we're like decrementing this value. That's going to look ugly too. In 64 T max slides. Ugh, I hate this. Naming is the hardest. Man, the underscores still feels like the best idea. But then do I rename all of them? So I make all the member variables have underscores, even though like I don't actually need these ones to have underscores? I might punt on this. Not make a decision right now and just come back to it later. Unless you guys have any clever ideas, I think I might just do that. After the stream, I'm going to go for a little walk. It's crazy hot outside where I am, but I need to see nature every once in a while. I'm going to go for a walk, then I have a work meeting, and then maybe this evening I'll dig back into this and keep it going. But thank you, everyone, for coming to the stream. It was super fun. We were all over the place and had some crazy topics that we dug into, and I loved it. Yeah. Hope you all have a great weekend. Take care. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.